Today we will learn what are pandas library. First of all, we will look what is panda. Pandas is a Python library used for working with datasets. It has function for analyzing, cleaning, exploring, and manipulating data. The name pandas has a reference to both panel data and Python data analysis and was created by Wes McKinney in 2008. Pandas is the Python library, and we import the library in Pandas. Basically, its function is to analyzing, cleaning, exploring, and manipulating the data. Why we use Pandas? Pandas basically allows us to analyze big data and make conclusion based on the statistical theories. Pandas can clean messy data sets and make them readable and relevant. Relevant data is very important in data science. Definitely, when we have data sets, it has different types of the data. So we want, if we want to clean the data, we want to pick some data, we use pandas for that particular purpose. How, what can pandas do? Basically, panda gives us the answer about the data, like is there a correlation between the two or more columns, means is there any connection between two or more columns. We can what is the average value, what is the maximum value, what is the minimum value. Pandas are also able to delete rows that are not relevant or contains wrong values like empty or null values. This is called the data cleaning, and we use this in the Panda. We use this technique in the Panda. Now we will look how can we use pandas in Python. For this purpose, we will open VS Code, and here we will create a new file. We will save it in Python Jupyter Notebook. Right, first of all we will save it. I'm going to give it a name, pandas. Pandas practice. Save it. Right, first of all we will import the library. For that purpose we will use this code indicator. We will use this editor. We will write & pip install pandas, right, and then we will import pandas as pd and run. Okay, as you can see that it has completed its working. Now we will create the series in the pandas. What is going to be used? First of all, we will create the series and we will learn how we can create the series in the pandas. For that purpose, we are using the series function, but we have to store that particular series in a variable. We can give any name, we can use any variable. I'm going to use it like s is equal to pd dot series, and now we will mention the numbers of the series. Square bracket, what would be the number 1, 2, 3. We can have the null values as well. right? Then we will run this series. After installing pandas and importing pandas, we need other libraries as well as to work with the pandas. For that purpose, we will also install the numpy. The same method is going to be used, pip install numpy, import numpy as np. Okay, now we will uh, first of all we will look how can we define the series in the pandas. What First of all we will look what is series. Series is basically a one dimensional labeled array holding data of any type. Series is one dimensional labeled array holding data, right? This is called the series. And what is the data frame? Data frame is basically data frames. Basically the difference between the series and data frame is that series is a one dimensional array and data frames are two dimensional array which holds the data, right? Okay, now we will look how can we define the series first. For series we will store numbers, we will store a series in a variable, and for that purpose we will define the variable like I'm going to give it a name. S is equal to pd dot series parentheses, then square bracket 1 comma 2, any number, free. Okay, we can give it null values as well, and for that purpose we will define the null values like np dot nen, right? 5, right? Okay, then enter, and then we will call the variable, then run it. Here it is. This is the values of the series, right? We have just given it the name, and it also displayed the result in 2 columns. Okay, we can define the series in another way by indexing. Here it is. Here is the code, the variable a, in which we will enter the numbers, any number. Okay, now we will store the index in another variable, which is my variable. I'm going to give it the name my variable, then pd dot series parentheses, then we will enter the variable a over here, comma, now we will enter the index. Index is equal to curly bracket. We can label any number, but we will write that label in commas. right? Now we will print this variable, which is my variable. Here is the result. As you can see that in the previous we just have the random series 1 2 3, and now we have labeled the series with x, y and z. Okay, now I want to show you the data frame. um, Basically I want to uh, display the dates range. For that purpose we will use the dates equals to pd dot date range function. Now okay, here we will give it the starting value uh, in commas. For example, I'm going to give it a 2024 is the year, then the month, and then the date, right? Then we will give it a period. It can be any period. I want to show the 6th number of the period function, and then 6, enter, and then we will run the dates. Here is the date time index. From 23 it has started the index, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 and 28. So 6 days you can see over here. Okay, now we will show these days in the form of the data frame. For that purpose we initialize a variable which is df equals to pd dot data frame function parenthesis. Then we will use np dot random dot random function. Okay, after that we will give it the value or number of columns, number of rows first of all, and then comma number of columns, comma index equals to dates, right? We want to show the data frame of dates. We want to label the columns, and we will also give it the list value, which is A, B, C and D. As we have mentioned the 4 columns, so we will give 4 values to the list. Close the brackets. And then we will call the data frame, which is df. Okay, here is the result. As you can see that there are 6 number of the rows and 4 number of the columns, and in all columns we have the random values. Okay, in this result we have shown the random values in the data frame. Now we will learn how can we create the data frame. For that purpose I'm going to use the data frame 2 equals to pd dot data frame, right, bracket start. Okay, When we want to create the data frame, I want a different type of the values in all columns. For that purpose, we will here we will define the columns of the data frame. The first column is A. I'm going to give it the number 1.0, the value. The second is B. In this column, I will show the time span, td dot timestamp function, in which I'm going to give it the same value of days. The third column is C, in which in C column, I want to show a series which will have 4 number of the values. So for that purpose, I have used the pd.series. One started from 1, and then the index list has the 4 values, right? In the same way, we will give the value to D column, which is an array, np dot array of 3, number 3, which will multiply with the 4. The data type will be int 32. It will be displayed int 32, comma, in E column I want categorical data, pd dot categorical, and the values are will be in inverted commas. We will give 4 values as we have the range 4. Okay, comma, and then we have the F column. F. In F column, we can give any value, any description. So I want to write food. Right, bracket closed. Now, after coming out of the data frame, So here are the results. As you can see, we have the column labels A, B, C, D, E, and F, in which we have a four number of the values, right? And this is the way that how can we define the data frame. Okay, if we want to get the data types of the previous result, we can have the function df2 dot d type, which will show us all the data types of the data frame. Okay, now we will learn how can we view the data. uh, Means if we have some existing data set, how can we view the data from that particular data set. For that purpose, we must have some data set in our folder. I have student performance factors data set in my folder. I want to read it, so for that purpose I will use the read function, which is I will use the variable to store the dataset df2 pd dot read csv. If we have the excel file, we will use read excel. If we have the csv file, we will follow the extensions. I have a csv file, pd dot read underscore csv. Then we will give the particular name of the dataset. I have student performance performance factor dot csv. We will call the function. So here are the results. As you can see that we have the data set over here, which has 6,607 rows and 20 columns. Now if we want to get the data, or we want to view the data in different ways, we can use different functions, which are uh, we will use the head function df2 dot head to read the data from the top of the dataset. So we use the empty parenthesis to get the top 5 rows of the data. If we use if we have some specific number of the lines from the head, we want to check the specific numbers, we will use the same function, but we will mention the number of the lines in the parenthesis, like df2 dot head. Like I want to show the 10 number of the data, 10 number of the rows, so I have written 10. So here are 10 number of the data, as you can see. In the same way, if we want to have the data from the bottom of the data set, we will use the tail function. Like these are the last five lines of the data set. If we will mention the number of the rows, we will use the same function, but in parentheses we will mention the number of the rows. So here are the last 10 rows of the data set. Okay, if we want to check the info of the data set collectively, we will use df2 dot info parenthesis and run. Here you can see that we have all the information about the data set, like it's the class panda.core, number of the entries 6607 number. If you want to get the information about a specific column, you will write the name variable like df2 square brackets, the name of the column like gender. I want to get the information about the gender dot info parenthesis and run. So here is the information about the specific column gender, series name gender, data type is given 6607 entries. Here are the result of a specific column. Now if we want to check the statistical function of the data set, we have the function describe, which is going to use like this, df2 dot means the dataset name dot describe and parenthesis. So here it is the result, where we have the count, we have the mean, standard deviation, minimum value, and maximum value. All the results you can see them over here. These are the column wise result. Okay, if we want a specific if we want to check the specific column, we can use the describe function as well, like this. df2 square bracket column name gender dot describe right. So gender statistical information of the gender is over here. We can also check the transpose of the data set. For that purpose we will use the transpose function. df2 dot t is a function. In transpose, as you know that the columns are converted into the rows and rows are converted into the columns. You can see them over here. These are the number of rows. So data is going to be changed. As you can see that we have 20 rows and 6607 columns. It is the reverse of the previous result. We can also sort the values. For that purpose, df2 dot sort function is going to be used. First of all, we will sort the index. We can sort the index, and for that index, then axis, we will mention the axis equals to 1, comma, ascending value, true or false, you can use anything, true, and then run. Right, these values are going to be sorted like this. If we want to sort out the values, sort value function is going to be used. Sort values, we will mention the column which is going to be sorted. For example, I have the attendance function, and attendance column, so I'm going to use it by equals to attendance. Attendance, then ascending we will check for true and false as well. For ascending true, we can see that attendance started from the 60 and it comes to an end to the 100, because we have ascending true, means it is going to be arranged in the ascending order. If we want to arrange it in the descending order, we will use df2 dot sort values by equals to attendance ascending equals to false. Okay, now it is going to be arranged in the descending order. Okay, we want to show the data of a specific column. We will use this function df2 gender and then this. If we want to show one or more columns, as we have shown the details of one column gender, I want to show two columns or more than two. I can use this function df2 log. I can select the functions from the dataset. I can select the columns from the dataset. df2 log dot log square bracket column means all the values, then specify the column names. I want attendance column, and gender column. As you can see that there is attendance and the gender column. All the data of these two columns are shown. If I want to show some specified data from these two columns, I can use the function df2.log, the same function, but I will specify the data limit. Like I want to show from 6000 to 6600, right? Then specify the columns, the same attendance, and gender, and then okay, you can see that 6000 from 6000 to 601 rows and 2 columns data can be seen over here. The same way we can show the data of all columns from a limited time, from a limited column number of the rows. I can use log function, 10 to 20. So here are the column number, row number 10 to 20, 19. 10 number of the rows data can be seen over here, like this one, right? Now we will look how can we use the concat function. Concat function basically used to merge the data frames and series. For concat function, we have more than two or more than two data frames. I have made two data frames. Like first is df1 pd dot data frame, and I have given it the data frames like arrays a, b, c, and d, right? And then mention the index of 0, 1, 2, and 3. The same way, df2 from A4 to A7, B4 to B7, C4 to C5, I have given it the values. 4, 5, 6, and 7 is the index number. And the same way, the third data frame, DF3, from 8 to 11. Index is 8 to 11. Now we have the frames df1, df2, and df3, like this one. We have stored these data frames in a variable frames. Now we will concat these three data frames. We will store this in these data frame result in a variable result. Result is equal to pd dot concat function is going to use, and we are going to concat the frames, and then print the result. When we print the result, we will have this kind of the result, right? We must have total 11 values, 0 to 11, and in this way we can see that data frame 1, 2, and 3 all are concatenated. We can also concat two data frames as well. It depends on the requirement. It's running. Okay, now you can see that I have concatenated two data frames. So here is the result from 0 to 8, and two data frames are concatenated. If we can change the order, we can change the values in the stored variable. Okay, now we will look what is grouping. Grouping is a technique in which we group the data frame through some criteria. We can use them by applying some splitting, adding, by summing. So we can use the grouping for this technique, grouping technique for this purpose. We use a group by function. For that purpose, we must have the data frame first. For that purpose, we will initialize the data frame. I have this data frame, df is equal to data frame a, foo, bar, foo, these are the values. B has 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, and 4. C has the random values, NP random 8 values. D also has a random values, and now we will call this function. Call the data frame. So we have this data frame. These are the this is the data frame. Now we will group the values of 1, 2, 3. We will group the values by summing up them. For that purpose, we will use the following method. We will group them we will use this function df dot group by a. I am going to group by a, like these values are going to be grouped by a, and c and d values are going to be summed because we have the values, random values in c and d. For that purpose we are adding them. Dot sum function is going to be used. We will call it, we will run this function, and here is the result. A has only two values, bar and foo, and their random values are going to be added in c and d. So we can group them by adding these values. We can also group more than one columns. We are using the same function, but only we will add the b column as well. A, and then we will write the b also here. B also here, and these are going to be written in the square bracket here. Now we will remove the C and D column because automatically the values are going to be added, and we have two columns for this. Run this function. Right. A has bar. Bar has three values in B column, 1, 2, and 3. All the values are added. And foo has 1, 2, and 3 values in the B column, and all the values are added. So in this way we can use the group by function for sum. We can also add them to follow up the other criterias. So hope you have learned about the pandas in this video, and this will be beneficial for you. Thank you so much.